Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome to The Last Lap. In today's video we're going to be breaking down everything that happened from Darlington in the NASCAR Cup Series race. But before we hop into it, I just want to remind you guys to hit that like button and subscribe button. That'll greatly help us out. We'd appreciate it if you did so. And you can also check us out on our Instagram page at The Last Lap News. And we're going to hop straight into it as always. I have my friend and co-host Matthew joining me on the show. And this is our first show post-graduation, so congratulations to both of us for finishing college. We got that diploma, well, at least I have mine coming in the mail, but Matthew, how's it feel to be back home and ready to be right there for our podcast for however long until you move? So how's it feel to be back?
Well, it feels good. I had a wonderful weekend, when it comes to graduation. It's gonna take some getting used to get back to this setting for who knows how long now. So I do have a couple things to show. One of them, of course, I got a new card to the collection. Kyle's 2021 Kansas win. Just got this in the mail. And fun fact, he won this race on his birthday last year, so it's a great one to have. And newest one to the collection. And another thing is, I want to shout out to my sister. She actually gave me this right here since I graduated this weekend. She got me this, the last lap at LU, with the logo, and I just want to thank my sister for that. I know my nephew, one of my nephews, does watch our show, so shout out to you. And yeah, let's go ahead and get this started.
Yeah, we always love support from a family, and that plaque is super duper cool. And sorry if you guys are hearing this and my voice is a little raspy and my throat's a little congested, so sorry in advance for that. For that reason, we're going to hop straight into the Cup Series race and recap that. Neither of us really watched the Truck Xfinity race because of graduation festivities, but hopping into the Cup race, Darlington, throwback weekend, a lot of lovely paint schemes out there. So to start things off, Keselowski ended up spinning around pretty early in the race. Denny Hamlin came down on Corey LaJoie, and that made everybody stack up, and Chase Elliott bumped Brad a little bit in the back and sent him around, unfortunately. There was a really funny close call on pit road. So Kurt Busch's crew, they were changing the tire, and as the jack dropped and Kurt wanted to drive off, the tire fell off, and I don't know if it was the left front changer, tire carrier, whatever, he almost jumped on the hood to stop Kurt from going so they wouldn't have to get that penalty. So that was pretty funny that he did that. Everybody was safe. There weren't any injuries or anything. So close call for Kurt Busch there. That was quite funny. Kyle Larson ended up spinning in turns 3 and 4. He was trying to pass Kyle Busch on the inside and just got loose and lost control of the race car. Joey Logano and Kyle Busch had a pretty intense restart on one of those. I think it was after Larson spun. It was a really intense restart. They were going side by side drafting each other, pinching each other down, all that. I just wanted to throw that out there. There was some very good racing between those two drivers. And Logano ended up winning Stage 1. In Stage 2, Kyle Larson would have an engine problem, potentially from spinning earlier in the race because he was making the car go backwards, but his team said that wasn't the issue, so quite unfortunate for that. He had a pretty good car. He came from the back like 2 or 3 times already at that point, and quite frustrating to end his day like that. And also in Stage 2, Brad Keselowski had another problem and ended up blowing a tire off of turn number 2, and unfortunately your driver Kyle Busch got collected in that. Couldn't really do anything. He just blew a tire right in front of him, and he couldn't slow down in time, so tough break for Kyle Busch there. So, okay, real quick, he parked his car on pit road going into the garage. Whether he did that on purpose because of last year, I don't know. He said the car wouldn't turn. I don't know. I mean, he got fined for going in there last year, speeding and hitting cones and stuff, so it's kind of ironic that he stopped right there, but if he says car didn't turn, it didn't turn, so I don't know. I just found it funny that he did that, and he got out of his car and just walked straight back to the garage area. So, I don't know, just typical Kyle Busch shenanigans. Ross Chastain would go on to win Stage number 2, and then, actually, right after Ross Chastain won Stage 2, he ended up spinning out off of turn number 2 on the restart. Denny Hamlin was on his outside, and he just got loose off of turn 2 and the car came out from underneath him, and he slid and hit the inside wall. Very tough break for Ross Chastain and that team. He had one of the best cars that day. There was a caution with 38 laps to go for Alex Bowman. He had a tire issue. Tyler Reddick was in the lead at this point, and this was like pit strategy was happening. So some drivers are trying to do it in 2 stops, and some drivers are trying to do it in 1 stop. So Reddick short pitted, got the lead, and then that caution came out for Bowman, so that helped him maintain the lead. Great pit strategy call right there, and it worked out in their favor. And Denny Hamlin once again had an issue on pit road. He was down to 18th position after that pit stop. He was 2nd or 3rd or something at that point. So somehow or another, Denny Hamlin him and his crew just find a way to not get a good finish. And right after that, he was involved in a big crash on the backstretch. I call that a big one, because all the Toyotas were involved. Truex was involved, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, Kurt Busch, and then Chase Briscoe was involved, and several other drivers. It all started with Martin Truex getting put 3 wide, and then he got loose and spun, and then they all stacked up, and drivers were hitting everybody and spinning and hitting the wall and all that crazy stuff. So tough to break for all those cars involved there. And then after that, William Byron and Joey Logano were at the front of the field at this point, and they had some aggressive restarts as well, some great racing. Byron ended up taking the lead on that restart right there, and he kind of squeezed him coming off of turn 2, and I don't know if Logano hit the wall or not. There's several different angles of it, but Byron would end up checking out and going to the lead, and then Logano was slowly closing him, slowly catching him, and coming up to the white flag. Well, in turns 3 and 4, sorry guys, in turns 3 and 4 coming to the white flag, Logano gave Byron the bumper to apparently retaliate for Byron running him up the track off turn 2 for that restart, and Byron just got sent into the wall. Logano would go on to win the race. Byron ended up finishing 13th, I believe. So unfortunate break right there for William Byron. He was pretty upset after the race. He called Joey Logano a moron, and that's pretty much the most upset I've seen William Byron get. So I would be pretty frustrated too if I was him. But going over the results so very quickly, Joey Logano ended up getting the win. Tyler Reddick finished his 2nd. Justin Haley 3rd. How about that for him and that Colleague Racing team? I believe he was on that same strategy as Tyler Reddick, so he was able to get some track position. He was able to avoid that wreck on the backstretch. So very attaboy to Justin Haley finishing 3rd. Kevin Harvick and Chase Elliott finished 4th and 5th after starting in the rear at the beginning of the race. They methodically made their way up through the field throughout the day, and they got top 5s out of it, so props to them. Christopher Bell, the lone surviving Toyota, in 6th. Michael McDowell 7th, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 8th. So props to those guys for great finishes too. And rounding out the top 10 are 2 Chevys in Austin Dillon and Daniel Suarez. So quite an interesting top 10 there. It was kind of a survival to the finish race right there with that big accident happening and some big names being taken out. So Matthew, how do you feel about this race and what you saw from Darlington?
From what I can tell, I thought this was a great race. I said Dover last week, and this was the best race. That was not a mile and a half or bigger, but that was not like that was a mile and a half. That was less than a mile and a half. That's what I mean. But I think Darlington tops that for the 2nd week in a row. I think Darlington's the best race of the year so far. That's not a mile and a half or bigger. I think there was amazing passes. You can pass without getting too loose. You can stay side by side. It was just great racing. I mean, that whole deal with Logano and Byron, that's the main storyline here. I'm not even going to talk about that whole Kyle Busch thing, because people know that he broke a tie rod. He couldn't turn. I don't have to explain it. We got a bunch of fools that run the media down there making up stories as usual. Fine by me. I'm just sitting back just laughing because of all the hypocritical media, whatever. But the main story is about Logano and Byron. Now, I heard that the last restart, Byron and Logano kind of were a little bit aggressive there, but I didn't see anything in which, that required a payback, in my opinion. Now, I know people are like, oh, it's nothing different than what Ross Chastain did at Coda, what Chase Briscoe did at Bristol Dirt. Okay, look, those are two different circumstances. Let's just be honest here. So that whole finish at Coda, Allmendinger bumped Chastain out of the way in the last lap, and Chastain hung on and gave it back to him. That was justified. He bumped out of the way, he bumped him back. That's justified. Bristol Dirt. Now, Chase Briscoe, for Chase Briscoe, at least he tried to pass, even though it failed miserably. It took both of them out. At least he still tried to pass. He went to the inside and slid up. At least he tried to pass. Joey Logano here didn't even try to pass. And it was 2 laps to go. He still had a whole lap left if he wanted to save the bump for the last lap. But he had the opportunity because Byron was indeed falling off. Logano had the faster car. He could have just went to the inside, probably would have cleared him because he was really better that last run. But no, he just straight up. It wasn't even a bump. That was a hit right there. Because, well, these next gen cars, you gotta hit the bumper really hard for them to really get out of control. And yeah, he hit him hard enough that made Byron go up the wall. So, that's Joey Logano. That's how he drives. And it's short track racing. That's how it goes. And yeah, if I were Joey Logano, might want to watch out for Byron. People would say Byron won't do anything, but I think that's what people said about Chase Elliott 2017 with Hamlin. He probably wouldn't do anything, but he did at Phoenix. So I'm not gonna rule anything out. William Byron's not really an emotional guy. He's kind of a robot sometimes. Just barely has any personality, but he's an unknown factor when he gets really mad. So if I were Logano, I'll keep my eye out on him in case he's in that situation again. And if I were Joe Logano, do not get mad if he does that back to you, because we saw recently with Ty Gibbs, say about Richmond and what happened in Martinsville. Don't do the same thing, Logano. So that's all I have to say about that. But man, I hurt seeing William Byron lose that race to me, because that throwback paint scheme has to be the best throwback scheme of the weekend after seeing it on track now. They got the colors absolutely right. That paint scheme is so nostalgic to me since when I started watching NASCAR. That was one of the first schemes I saw was the Flames of Jeff Gordon. And man, I hurt seeing him go on the wall like that. That hurt, in my opinion. And then Jeff Gordon was with them in the race. I'm sure he was giving advice like, hey, you should go up there like I did with Brad a few years ago. You should do that. They'll like you if you did that. But, oh, by the way, shout out to my friend Chris, who graduated with me this weekend. He went straight to Darlington after that. And he had a great time there. So shout out to you, Chris. I'll give you a shout out there. But, he said when the Logano got in the crowd that it was so loud of all the boos there, and he said he's never seen so many the number one signal all over the air everywhere. He says he's never seen that one before. But yeah, I thought this was a great race, another memorable finish and controversial finish. I thought it was a fantastic race from what I saw on the TV. My only thing is, I think Willie Byron should have been at least a little more mad, especially if he just got hit out of the way like that for the win. I wasn't too happy with how Tyler Reddick handled the whole Bristol Dirt thing. He was way too chill, way too nice for someone who just got robbed out of their first career win. Now you have William Byron. Yeah, William Byron wasn't happy, but I thought he would be more mad than that, especially just getting hit like that. That wasn't even close to a pass. That was just getting rammed in the back. So, yeah, other than that, great race.
Yes, I didn't give my 2 cents on the Logano and Byron incident just yet, but you think you were upset and frustrated? I mean, I'm a Jeff Gordon fan, so like seeing that 24 Flames car, I was rooting for Byron to hang on and get the win, but unfortunately it didn't happen. So you know, Logano thinks he was wrong. I mean, Logano thinks he was wronged. So in his mind, he was wrong, so he did it back. So in that sense, I get it. But like you said, and like everybody's saying, I didn't see much off of turn two. I mean, I saw that as just a racing incident. I didn't think Byron was trying to squeeze him up into the wall or anything.
Said he got walled. Look, he did not get walled. Stop it. Okay. When Kyle Larson put Kyle Busch in the wall in that 2018 finish, Chicagoland back there, that's getting walled. Logano, what happened with Byron Logano? He did not get walled. Stop it. So that's I don't know what he was thinking there.
This is the most I've ever seen you defend a Hendrick driver, and I'm loving it. So you can keep that up.
It's no secret. I like William Byron. There's no secret about that.
You can keep that up for further videos, but yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see Logano try and pass him clean, or at least give him a tap and not just drive into the corner and shove him out of the way. But he's going for the win. He had a lap and a half left, and I guess you have to do what you have to do and live with the consequences, and I guess he's willing to live with it. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either if William Byron races him a little bit harder later on, or maybe gives him a couple hits down the road. But, yeah, great racing at Darlington all weekend long. So we're going to go ahead and rate this race very quickly. I think I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it had everything you needed. The car performed great. There was a lot of good side-by-side racing. There were not a lot. There were a few cautions, a few wrecks, and a good dramatic close finish. So for that, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Matthew, we're going to go ahead and rate the race at Darlington.
I'll give this race a 9 out of 10. I think this was a success with the next-gen car at Darlington. I heard that it was cold there and it was cloudy, and I was getting a little concerned because we all knew it happened in Martinsville when it was cold and cloudy and wet there. It wasn't good racing, but thankfully for Darlington, the racing was still really great despite the cold temperatures. So I gotta give this race a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I don't think anything could beat how cold it was and wet it was at Martinsville. Like, that was just straight up bad. So I don't know. Maybe
still
it was
recovering from that.
Maybe it was just a little bit more chilly than normal there in Darlington, but yeah, thankfully it put on a good show for us. Hopping into our fantasy points, you pulled a me and forgot to do your lineup, so that allowed for me to open the door a little bit.
I got a good excuse this time.
I had graduation too. We graduated the same day, and I did mine, so whatever. So for the race, you got 105, and I got 169. And for total points now, you have 2,081. I have 2,135. So I have a 54-point lead post Darlington heading into Kansas. So, yeah, we'll have to see how Kansas goes. But, Matthew, do you have any other closing thoughts before we go ahead and wrap the episode up?
Yeah, I do have one. Actually, I do have two. One, congratulations, Justin Haley, with a surprising third place. For some reason, I like Justin Haley a lot. I think he's my favorite driver when it comes to drivers that no one ever talks about. I don't know why. Probably because of college racing, but congratulations to him. One big thought I had was, I'm starting to get a little concerned about Kyle Larson. Like, I know Kyle Larson has speed, but he's just gotten himself into so many issues that either took him out of the race or took him out of the race, like, for a win, or took him out of the race completely, DNF. Like, I think this was his 4th DNF this season. And, I mean, he's the defending champ, and especially after he won, like, the second race this season, I thought, man, he's about to dominate again. But, man, he hasn't shown a lot of that since then. So, I mean, it's not full-on concern, but it's something to think about as we get to the summertime here. Can they, clean up all these issues and start getting more consistent, becoming more of a championship contender again?
I mean, you said the same thing last year going into the playoffs, and he ended up going on a tear in the playoffs and winning the championship. So I'm not too concerned about it.
So many races in the summer. What are you talking about?
I know, but like going into the playoffs, you were like, well, I don't know if he can win the championship because of them making mistakes and all that stuff. So, I mean, I'm not too concerned about it. There's 10 or 12 more races in the regular season before the playoffs.
This is like his 4th DNF for the season. We're not even halfway through the season. That's still something to think about.
Yeah, but with this format, all you have to do is win and you're in, and then, try and build some consistency before the last 5 or 6 weeks before the playoffs to get you going. So I'm not too concerned about it, but we'll have to see.
You can't wait too long to have some consistency, or the playoffs are just going to come around, and then you got to scramble to get something going.
I'm not too worried about it, but we'll see how it goes the rest of this regular season. But that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this video. We hope you all enjoyed it. Talking about Darlington Raceway, the controversy with Joey Logano and William Byron. Let us know in the comments below how you feel about the controversy, who's right, who's wrong. Does William Byron, does he have a chance? If he has opportunity to pay Logano back, should he do it or should he not? Let us know in the comments down below. Kansas is next weekend, but until then, we will see you guys in our next video.